Welcome back to your channel, and today's topic of discussion shall be techniques evolved by F.W. Taylor. In the last lecture, we talked about the concept of scientific management, which was first ever coined by him, and today we move further and talk about his techniques. Without any further delay, let's start with that. And yes, don't forget, if you are the first time viewer or you have not subscribed yet, do press the subscribe button and press the bell icon for the further updates. Okay, let's start. See, what Taylor did, he always had the idea of one simple concept, and rather I should say of one simple phenomena, that any one person cannot be perfect in all the manners. One person, if he is good in planning, he may not be very good in implementing those plans. Or if he is good in implementation, he may not be very good in planning. So, what he did, he came up with the concept of functional foremanship. He divided the whole factory in two parts: one planning department, other one production department. And he suggested four independent officers under both of them, both the departments, that is production as well as planning. As you can see in the diagram here, the factory manager is supervising these two people, planning in charge and production in charge. Okay, then you see this planning and production. Now planning department has got four people: instruction, for instruction job; root job, that means how the job is to be done, the whole procedure; time and cost, that means how exactly it is going to be divided in time and what is going to be the costing part of it; then for the discipline part, that whether these three and rest of the people under them are working properly or not. This is what is the planning department. And then comes the production part, where we have the speed boss, gang boss, repairs, and this inspector. This is what he did, and one simple concept it was. It was just the extension of division of work and specialization. And then he divided these two parts, and with these four people under both of them, the whole job of one single person was divided among two different teams of four people each, and that was the correct way of getting the job done in the most effective and efficient manner. Okay, because one person cannot be God. People like me are very rare, I know, but that is why it is done like this. Okay, so it is that one person cannot be the perfect person, he cannot be doing all the jobs. That is why he divided the whole factory in two parts: planning and execution function, or production function, and then elaborated further with four persons each, and they were given different jobs: drafting the instructions to the workers, specifying the route of production, that is the procedure of the production, time, cost, sheet preparation, discipline imposing, so many things. And then the same thing was done with the production also. They were given the job of they were held responsible for effective completion of the job. They were given the job of proper maintenance, effective maintenance of the tools and machineries, keeping the people, that is workers and machinery, both ready for the production and the work, keeping a good what you should say, working atmosphere in the factory, and above all, maintaining good quality of work. This is what they were doing, and that is what the first ever systematic thought of a person, F.W. Taylor. Then he came up with another one, that is standardization and simplification of work. He was an ardent supporter of what? of scientific approach towards the work. He never had the idea that it should be done on the basis of some thumb rule or some just whims and moods of the managers. It has to be very, very specific. So he came up with two things, that is, the work should be standardized and it should be simplified. How come? See, standardization. What is standardization? The process is a very simple one where we are putting a benchmark that, well, the work should be done in this particular manner, or the quality wise it should be reaching this benchmark, so that the timing, the quality, everything is maintained in that very manner. Process of standardization for every single business activity is specified, whether it is in terms of its process, time, production, machinery, methods, anything. And why was it done? So that the time factor is controlled, the work is done effectively. Any kind of what you call that, if there is any kind of situation where we can replace a particular product or an item or an activity with something better, even that can be done. We have to put the standards for that. If we are not able to meet those standards, we have to be able to change it. Then establishing the standards of excellence in terms of material, whether the quality standards are being met or not. And so was the case with the performance of the workers also. It is not just that, okay, fine, you're working for 8 hours in the factory, that means you'll be getting this much of wages, that is enough. No. They were given something in, extra also, some bonuses, some better incentives, so that they come up with better efficiency and better production level. And simplification, it was just simply removing or eliminating all the unnecessary activities or unnecessary confusions, any complications. They were all simplified, they were all divided in small parts, and then it was very, very systematically applied in all the activities of the business. Then comes, he conducted 4 different studies. Method study, that how exactly a particular job is to be done. The one there has, see, it is always that there is one best way of doing something. Always, you talk about anything, but it is always like this. It is always going to be one best way of doing something, and that is what he came up with. That find out, we should find out the one best way of doing something, and we should stick to that. And nowadays, what we see in car manufacturing industry, that assembly line where a big conveyor belt is kept, and one by one, different processes are being done, and cars are being manufactured that very way, in that very manner. And you know who was the first one to come up with this idea? Taylor. And who adopted this? Ford. Ford company, Ford Motors. They came up with this concept and they implemented it, and even today it is being done. It minimizes the cost a lot. Then comes motion study, that means minimum possible movements while doing the production job. That will ensure minimum depreciation of your material, of your machinery, minimum wear and tear of the goods and the machinery. Unnecessary movements are eliminated, and as a result, the work that a person can do in 8 hours, he can do that in 4 hours or even 6 hours. And as a result, the productivity will increase, the efficiency will increase. Taylor, with his associate Frank, was able to reduce, listen, bricklaying activity, that building house construction process, that bricklaying activity, he was able to reduce the movements from 18 movements to 5. And that is what triggered that process, triggered that phenomena, where they were able to increase the productivity in such a way that they were able to get the best out of their workers, and that is what it was supposed to do. And he not just came up with this idea, he also came up with the idea that how exactly, what kind of tools should be used, what kind of methods should be used for this purpose. Okay. Then comes time study, that how much time you are going to spend for that, how much time you are going to do this. If you go to a bank, they always they have a board somewhere on the wall where they will be writing, for updation of passbook this much time, for this purpose this much time, standard time this much. They always do this. I have seen when I was a kid, when I went to the bank, I was used to go to bank with my father. I saw it there and I noticed it, and now I'm able to relate it, that see, this is what it is, that if they are able to decide that yes, this is the time which should be consumed to do a particular job, that is what it is. This is what the standard time is. And it obviously depends on the volume of the work, the frequency of the work that is going to be there. It's not that if a bank is saying 15 minutes for passbook updation, that means everybody cannot be going after their life. If there are 50 customers in line, it will take a lot of time. That is a different thing. But still, the basic objective is to determine that how much work can be done by how many people. Number of workers to be employed on a particular job is to be decided by this very conclusion, that how much time is going to be there for a particular job. Okay. Then comes fatigue study. As you can see the picture, that shows once a person is exhausted by working for long hours, like if you study for some time, you'll start having some pain in the neck or the back or the shoulders or something like this. You need some rest. Similarly, workers also need the rest. They also need to take some rest during their working shifts. They need to be given some tea interval or lunch break. They are human beings. You cannot expect a worker to keep on working for all the long hours at the same time. You cannot expect, if you are going to expect it, but you if you are going to expect that he will be working, fine, he will be working, but do you think his productivity will be there? No. Quality of work will be gone, will be lost. Okay. And depending on this, the working hours are decided depending upon the kind of work, depending upon the nature of the work, the intervals, the how many intervals and how for how much time, all these things are decided upon that. Okay, clear? And that's it for this lecture. In the next one, we are going to continue with more techniques of Taylor and a small intro to Henry Fayol also. So stay connected and don't forget to subscribe the channel.